Tell us what people would like to hear where you are.
Well, welcome to Stormont, the home of where Northern Ireland's government is meant to be, of course, and it's not sitting because of that controversial protocol bill. It keeps Northern Ireland inside the UK, but inside EU legislation and regulation, a very hard thing to do, and a big thing that we will be hearing about over the next few months is triangulation, goods coming from Northern Ireland, travelling to the UK and then not being able to get back in to Northern Ireland. But really, who would be Prime Minister? The parties here, both Sinn Féin and the DUP, have already been out, congratulated Liz Truss, but basically said time to get down to the protocol and have a look at it. I don't think it'll be very far up her agenda, to be honest. When we look at what's in front of her, she's got the cost of living crisis. Just 2 weeks ago, I ran through Britain looking at agriculture, and one of the biggest problems with the cost of food is that there's no common agricultural policy. There hasn't been since 2016, since we left the EU. We now have regions doing separate things and treating themselves separately, and of course that puts them in competition with each other. But we have had a green policy, an environmental policy set upon those farmers, and with no common agricultural policy, there's no business plan of how to deal with those rises that they're being asked to deal with. And of course the farmers are quite rightly handing that straight to us, the consumer, in the shopping basket. We have the employment laws, the big problems around those, this 0 hours contracts, and of course those employment agencies. During the pandemic it was very much exposed that those people couldn't get furlough. They're self-employed but they work for other people, and they ended up on the I suppose the Ferris wheel of benefits, and they've stayed there because they're quite good benefits. Housing, that will be a big one in 18 months' time. Can they make housing affordable and get young people on that ladder? There's a problem there with raw materials. We can't get raw materials. Most of our goods are being made in the Far East. We exported our manufacturing with Margaret Thatcher back in the 70s and 80s. Liz Truss is being talked about as the new Thatcher. Well, she might be the anti-Thatcher because she's going to have to bring manufacturing back, get our raw materials going, and she may have to open mines and allow fracking to happen in order to get the cost of living under control. And of course, she then has the public sector to deal with, and she has said that she wants to shrink the public sector. Both herself and Rishi Sunak have said that it's far too big. And in Northern Ireland, it most definitely is. 72% of the employment in Northern Ireland depends on the public sector. And to negotiate with unions, she must be very strong. But unlike Thatcher, she will have to negotiate with the institutions in and around Britain, the Welsh Assembly, the Northern Irish Assembly and the Scottish Assembly in order to impose on that. And we haven't even touched on the Ukraine or the NHS and most of all the Northern Ireland Protocol.